Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Hobson. I am the Global Education Advisor at the University of Tulsa, and we're going to do a little presentation today about, the basics of how to study abroad as a health sciences student. My supervisor, Laura Simino, is here with us, and also, we have Laura Nichols, who's a nursing student who studied abroad, and I'm going to have her start out and just give a little bit background about, her experience and let you ask any questions from her if you do about her experience. So take it away.
So I'm Laura. I'm a senior nursing student here at TU, and in between my sophomore and junior year, I spent my summer in Peru, which was a really great experience. And the whole reason I chose to do that was because I really wanted to study abroad. But with nursing, it's a little difficult during the school year because it's a very set schedule and program and everything like that. So I wanted to do something over the summer, and I knew pretty early on that I wanted to work like either ER or have like a really good externship, not just in Tulsa, but like at a major hospital in the US after my junior year. So I started looking into internship programs outside of the country because we can't intern as nursing students in between your sophomore and junior year. We just don't have enough experience to do it in the US. But there's some really great opportunities in other countries. So I looked into a program called Work the World, and I was able to do that as an independent study with a professor. And I got to work in the ER in a hospital in Peru, which I definitely would recommend. You can't do anything outside of your scope that you've learned in school. So you have to like show proof of what you've learned in school and everything like that. But I got to go down there and make casts for people who broke their arms. I got to give like shots and everything like that. And you're still pretty much like getting that clinical experience, but in a whole different country. And it was really fun. And you get to learn a lot. And the doctors were so nice. They kind of just took me under their wing, and they take the time to sit down and teach you everything. I got to learn things that I probably will not be able to do in the US. I got to learn how to read x-rays and find the fractures on the x-ray, which isn't something that nurses do in the US. And I also got to like assist with giving stitches and procedures, and I got to see a lot of cool things. I got to see brain surgery one day. I wanted to go down to the OR and they let me. And I think one of the more rewarding experiences about Work the World as well was you work 5 days a week. So it's a little different than in the US. You don't work the 12 hours, but you work like 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And then all of us would meet each other at the hospital in like the little courtyard area. And then we would all go get coffee together after work and like just explore our city. And then every weekend we'd go out of town somewhere. So I got to see, Hakuchina in the desert and go sandboarding. I got to go to Lake Titicaca and see how the natives of Peru live and learn about their culture and actually stay with some natives in their house at like a homestay for the weekend, as well as you hike the biggest canyon. It's like the second biggest canyon after the Grand Canyon from top to bottom or whatever, the second biggest canyon in the world. Some people, my trip got cut short for some personal reasons, but like some people also spent their weekends in the rainforest. I was supposed to go to Machu Picchu before I left and everything. So you get to learn a lot in the hospital, but you also get to experience a lot, and you live in a house with other people interning at the hospital. And in the UK, nursing majors are required to spend one semester outside of the country to graduate as like in clinical. So I lived with like 90% people from the United Kingdom, which was just really cool to learn about their culture and how healthcare works in their industry. So like it was a lot of great experiences in one thing.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura, for sharing. I just want to see if anyone has any specific questions for you. You can either put them in the chat or take yourself off mute and ask if you do.
I'm not sure about, I know my mom said rules changed about scholarships.
Since you are,
I don't know about
since
that
we are
question.
recording the session, let's just read the question because in case people don't have access to the chat in the recorded session.
Okay.
Did scholarships cover your trip to Peru? And maybe you can add to how did you finance your trip to Peru?
So for me, I don't know the new rules. My scholarship did cover it, but I think TU has changed the rule of that. But that was because I did it as an independent study. So I was still getting class credit. If you didn't get class credit, I would have had to pay for it on my own. But it Work the World, even if your scholarships don't cover it, is pretty affordable because it includes everything. It included our housing. And it included all our food except for on weekends. So I didn't have to pay for breakfast, lunch, or dinner on weekdays. I only had to pay for food on the weekends.
And I'll talk more generally about like how to finance study abroad in the bigger presentation as well. So. Any other questions for Laura?
Why did you choose Peru specifically?
I chose Peru. I really wanted to go to Asia, but when I was looking at flights, because like it doesn't cover flights, so I had to find my own way to get there. Didn't realize how expensive it was going to be to fly to Asia. So I started looking at places a little closer to home, and I've always kind of like enjoyed the Latin culture and the Latino culture. So I really have been interested in South America, and I've always been fascinated with Peru, even before I even like started looking. And so when I saw Peru on their list, I looked up flights, and Peru is actually super affordable to fly to and back. I think I paid like $800 round trip, and so I decided to go there, and there's no time change, so it was great. When I got there, I was ready to jump right in. And working, where like, because you land on a Saturday or Sunday, and they don't wait for you to start your internship. You start your internship that Monday at 8 a.m. So I didn't have to like, some of my roommates who flew in from Europe were really struggling that first week because of the time change and stuff. So it was nice not to have the time change and just get straight to work.
Great. I'll see one more time if there's any more questions, and if not, I'll get started on kind of our presentation. All right, thank you, Laura, for telling us about your experience. I just want to double check, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So like I said, today's presentation about study abroad is health sciences majors. So the first, step, we're going to go through the process, and the process is pretty similar for, every major at TU. It's not necessarily super specific to health sciences, but you are going to meet with your academic advisor to determine which classes you can take abroad. This is especially important for nursing majors specifically. Like Laura said, it's a little bit complicated to, get the courses work that you need abroad, and doing it in a timely manner before you start like your clinicals and the very structured program here at TU. And I do have another slide about nursing later, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, first step, no matter what your major, you want to talk to your academic advisor, let them know you're interested in study abroad, and try to work out with them, where in the timeline of your time here at TU, study abroad is going to fit in for you. So if in a non-COVID world, we have peer advisors in our office. Unfortunately, our office, most of us are working from home right now, and we don't have peer advisors there. But in future semesters, when we're back in person, we have, student returnees that work in our office, and they can talk to you about like getting started on the process and looking for programs and stuff like that. So for right now, you'll skip that step, and you'll just go to our website and start researching our programs. And you can meet with me, and we'll meet one-on-one, and we'll talk about, your goals and what you want to get out of an experience abroad, what you need to take. So if there's very specific courses you need to take, or you need an internship, then that way we can kind of narrow down and look through the different program options to see what will be a good fit for you. So once you know which program you're interested in, you will apply to study abroad, and there will always be 2 applications. So there's a CGE TU application, and that's us giving you permission to go abroad, and then you'll apply to the program that you're hoping to go to, and you'll apply to them, and that's because they have to give you permission to come. And the application process, I'm there to help you through the process. You can meet with me as much as you need to go over any questions, send emails. That's my job. That's what I'm here to do, is help you through that process. Step 5, go abroad. The 4th step obviously takes more time than some of the other steps, but like I mentioned, we were going to talk about, finances. For study abroad, there is, 3 different types. We have semester study abroad, summer study abroad, and then we have faculty-led. And for semester study abroad, you will pay your TU tuition and your housing abroad. And so with that, all of most scholarships and financial aid go with you. There are some exceptions. Those would be ones that require you to be on campus. These are generally music or sports scholarships. And if you have any questions about whether your scholarships would go with you for study abroad, you can talk to TU's financial aid office, and they'll go over every, scholarship and financial aid that you receive and be able to tell you what will count towards study abroad and what will not. But like I said, the majority do. And so for most students, a semester abroad tuition-wise is exactly the same as if you're here on campus. And then the housing costs are going to vary depending on where you go, because the cost of living varies depending on location, of course. So some places are super cheap, and I think we have one place where housing is like $900 for the whole semester, and then some are more expensive where it's about $6,000, but most of them fit in the middle there. And so if you live on campus, the housing costs abroad are probably pretty similar to what you're paying for a semester to live on campus. And there are specific study abroad scholarships you can apply for to help, supplement the cost of housing, or, your flight, or other, study abroad expenses. And we have a long list of external scholarships that you can apply for, listed on our website. Most programs have their own scholarships that you can apply for, through the program. And we have some scholarships. We have one that is called the Ambassador Scholarship. So if you go on one of our exchange programs, you automatically get $1,500. And then we have the Critical Need Scholarship, which is, more for students with critical need. And that would be a discussion with financial aid to decide if you are qualified for that or not. But I'm happy to talk with students to go over scholarship options. There are a lot out there. I received scholarships to study abroad when I was a student. And so one of my favorite things to do is help you with your applications to get money to go abroad. So let's just go through each of the health science majors real quick to just a little more in depth. So like we said, nursing's a little more complex to figure out the study abroad for a semester. And we do see a lot of nursing students go abroad during the summer just because it's easier to fit in that way. So for nursing students, there are 4 courses that basically you need to get done before your spring semester of your sophomore year. So usually it's easiest for nursing students to go abroad the spring of their freshman year, which obviously maybe is not possible this year just because, we're not having study abroad this spring, or the fall of your sophomore year. And you just need to make sure that you're able to get these 4 courses completed before you come back for spring of your sophomore year. So there's a little bit of like Tetris going into like, you know, making sure that you take the courses that you need to here at TU, you know, either in the spring, and then maybe take some courses over the summer at TCC or some other community college to transfer back in, and then taking courses that you need abroad. So right now these courses can be found at 2 of our programs. One is University College Dublin, that has the developmental psychology course and the chemistry course approved. And then ISA Valencia in Valencia, Spain has the human physiology and normal nutrition course approved. And just to clarify, even though it's in Spain, the courses are in English. I get questions a lot when I recommend different programs. People will be like, oh, but I don't speak this language, so I can't go there or whatever. Generally, unless you're a language major, if I'm suggesting a program for you, even if it's in a non-English speaking country, the courses are in English. I won't suggest a program in another language unless you specifically asked for that. And so, yeah, so with nursing, this is what we have to work with, getting these in and making sure that you get those courses done before you start spring of your sophomore year here at TU. So this is where talking with your academic advisors is going to be really helpful, because they're able to, go through your specific grad check type thing and see where we can fit in your courses. And that also helps you, figure out which program you want to go to. So if you've found a way to complete all of these and you don't need to take one while you're abroad, then your program options are pretty unlimited, because if you're not needing these specific courses, you are able to look at other programs. So for speech language pathology majors, the best time to go abroad is the spring of your sophomore year. And while you're abroad, you're going to be taking psychology courses. And so in general, we have 19 programs in 17 different countries that offer psychology courses. So there's a lot of options for speech language pathology students. And we have them in a lot of different countries. And it's a bit easier to navigate just because you're not needing very specific courses. Exercise and sports science, again, is a lot more flexible. It's flexible in the fact that you don't have to go a specific semester. So you can go, just kind of whenever you can fit it in. And we have 10 different programs that are really good fits for exercise and sports science programs. So these are universities where you can take exercise and sports science classes. We have programs in the UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, Spain, South Africa, Scotland, and again, the UK and New Zealand. So I'm just going to talk. I have like 3 programs that I'm just going to briefly go over. I mentioned University of College Dublin was really good for nursing majors. It's also good for exercise sports science majors and psychology majors. So by that default, speech language pathology students can go here and take psychology courses. So it's a good fit for all 3. It's a very large it's the largest university in Ireland. They have about 30,000 students. It's in Dublin, and it's ranked top 1% of universities in the world. And then, just in the heart of Dublin, we send a lot of students, not just health science students, to Dublin just because they're a big university. They have a lot of different course options. A lot of students like to be in Ireland because then they can, travel to other places within Europe very easily. And it's an English-speaking country, so some students just like the ease of that. So. The other one that I mentioned was good for nursing is ISA Valencia, and this program is also very good for exercise sports science majors. You have the option to stay with a homestay on this program, which is nice. I know we have a lot of nursing students that minor in Spanish, just because I've met a lot of nursing majors who are also minoring in Spanish, so this might be a good opportunity. You can go take classes in English, get the nursing courses that you need, but stay with the homestay, maybe practice your Spanish a little bit. You could also take some Spanish courses while you're here if you're interested. And then, of course, they also have sports exercise science courses, and yeah, they're kind of a mid-sized university, bigger than TU, but not quite as big as like UCD. And it's in Valencia, which is a beautiful city in Spain. Their calendar matches up, and the GPA requirement is 2.5, which matches the TU GPA requirement. The program at UCD requires a 3.0 GPA, so there's some distinctions there. The next program I want to speak about is University of Auckland. It's in New Zealand. It would be a good fit for speech language pathology majors and for sports and exercise science majors. We don't have any of the nursing courses approved here, so not a great fit for nursing students when you need those specific courses. And their GPA requirement is 2.7. Their calendar is a little different from the US calendar. So you start in February and end in June for spring semesters. And then for fall semesters, it's July to November. So just because they're in the Southern Hemisphere, their summer is when our winter is. And so their academic calendar is different because they get December and January off. So this is another big university, about 40,000 students. It's in Auckland. It's a top university. Lots of students like it because we send lots of students who are like really into outdoors to New Zealand. There's a lot of different, outdoorsy type activities that you can do in New Zealand. So briefly, let's talk about summer abroad. So the pay structure for summer abroad is different from semester abroad in that you pay per credit hour. So if you're taking 3 credits, then you'll pay, the TU price or the program price, whichever is higher. Usually it's the TU price. Most students take 3 or 6 credits abroad during the summer. And, summer is a lot easier for nursing students to go abroad just because it fits in the schedule a little easier. And you don't have to take specific nursing courses. So people use summer as bonus time. So you're just interested in maybe a certain topic. Like I said, we have a lot of nursing students who are Spanish minors. So I see a lot of students go to like Costa Rica or Spain during the summer, or I've also had some speech pathology majors go to Spain in the summer just to take some fun, block courses. And it's also kind of makeup time. So like if there are some courses you need caught up on, you may be able to do that. It's a lot easier to take blocks and electives during the summer. We do have programs in the summer that do kind of have health related courses. And those are usually in Costa Rica, Denmark, South Africa, and Spain, and sometimes Sweden. But we have programs in these countries during the summer, so lots of different options. And one particular summer program that I want to speak about specifically is one called Student Athletes Abroad. It's a summer internship opportunity. So you do a full-time internship abroad with a local organization, and they have programs in Australia, South Africa, Costa Rica, and Spain. We've sent a few students. We just added this program a couple of years ago, and we've sent a few students, exercise and sports science students, to do like one of the required internships that they've needed. We sent them to South Africa and Costa Rica. And then I think last summer we had someone who was planning to go to Spain, but then COVID, so no one ended up getting to go anywhere. But these are really cool internships. They have them in exercise science, coaching, physical therapy, sports management, nutrition, healthcare, health, sport for development, and education. So really cool internship opportunity, kind of similar, like Laura spoke about her internship at the hospital. where she worked, but then they had a lot of opportunities to, you know, explore the country on their own time. And student athletes abroad is kind of like that, where you have your full-time internship, but you still have time to, you know, explore the country and do some traveling and get to know the local culture. And they set up some trips for you as part of the program as well. So it's a real cool opportunity. So we don't have any faculty-led programs going this spring, again, because of COVID, but usually we have like about 8 or 9 courses over spring break. Faculty-led courses are where you take a course as at TU. You're in the class, but then during spring break, or at the end of the semester, so a spring extension would be like, you know, at the end of the semester for 2 weeks, you go as a class abroad and you get to like look at the topic that you've been studying here at TU, like in person, and kind of learn the international perspective. So one of the courses that's run in the past is International Nursing and Technology. And they go to London and they get to do a lot of different, you know, different activities related to the course. So with these faculty-led programs, there's usually just a fee. This one was $2,500, but it differs, you know, every year depending on what the different activities are. And the difference between this program and then like summer and semester is that your airfare actually is included, your lodging is included, ground transportation, tours, and some meals. And so the fee is kind of a little bit all-inclusive compared to some of the other programs. So that is the end of my prepared presentation. I am working from home right now, but you can schedule a virtual meeting with me. You can send me an email. Happy to talk to you about, you know, all things study abroad. Like I said, meet with your advisors, get a grad audit when you're interested, just to figure out where you can go and what you need. Follow us on Instagram. If you follow us by the end of November, we're going to do a drawing for all the new followers in November. And so whoever wins will get a $25 Amazon gift card. Yeah, so that's the end of my prepared presentation. I'm going to open up for questions. You can put them in the chat or take your mute off and ask whatever you feel comfortable with. So let me know what your questions are. No questions? Did I just do a really good job of explaining everything?
Yes, Morgan, you did do a great job. Thank you.
I would like to add one thing. Also, like if you're worried about traveling abroad and being out of the country, like if that scares you, like don't be, because I know Laura was my advisor when I went to Peru, and like she makes sure everything's like okay for you leading up to it. And then I had some health issues happen while I was there, and it was really hard to talk to my parents while I was like in the hospital. And Laura did a really good job at like talking to me and calling the hospital and calling my mom and making sure everything was okay, where like, and then dealing with the insurance where like I didn't have to pay $1 for anything and it was all taken care of. And I was home with my family, you know, within like a few days. And like it helped everyone feel like great because TU took really good care of me, and like I didn't have to worry about that on top of everything else. And I hope that doesn't happen on your visit, but if that's something that scares you about being across the country, like they take care of you and everything like that too.
Yeah, with all of our students who study abroad, you are automatically enrolled in our travel/health insurance. So if anything comes up, you're covered. Yeah, so Laura had the experience of having to go to the hospital, and like she said, like we were able to, you know, work everything out. And then, you know, the students who are abroad in the spring and had to come home early because of COVID, they were able to get some reimbursement because of the travel insurance. So we got a question. Are you able to take block courses, study abroad as well? Yes. So you can take any type of course abroad. You can take blocks, you can take free electives, you can take major specific courses, minor specific courses. We just kind of did a session that was focused on, major specific, just because some students have specific questions about that or think that they can't study abroad for their major. So we just want to, dispel that myth. But yeah, a lot of students, when they go abroad, they maybe take like maybe 2 major courses and 2 block courses and a minor course, or like just a mix. Or you can take all major courses or all minors or all electives. Like it just depends on what your specific like grad situation looks like what you need left. We can kind of tinker with that and see what you can do. So like these programs I spoke about are like ones that are good fits for these specific majors, but if you don't need to take any major courses while you're abroad, you can basically go to any one of our programs, because you're going to be able to take elective or block courses on most of our programs. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions?
Yeah, I actually have one more. I'm going to use my mic for this one.
Okay.
Sorry. How many hours do you usually recommend students take abroad? Like if they're doing like a semester?
Yeah, so for a semester, it's really going to depend on your program. So some programs, especially like the ones in the UK, New Zealand, Australia, their courses are each 4 credits each. And so most students will take 4 courses, which will equal 16 credit hours. You could take just 3 and bring back 12 credit hours. You just have to take a minimum of 12 credit hours when you're abroad to make sure that you're full-time. Some programs require that you take a minimum of 15 credits. It's dependent on the program. So, but students take anywhere from like 12 to 18 credits. It's just really kind of up to what you need and what you want to do and kind of the experience that you need, and also the program. So. Does that, great. Any other questions? Sabrina, what's your major?
I'm doing exercise science.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's probably the one of the 3 health science majors. That's probably the one that's easiest to fit study abroad in. So lots of cool opportunities.
What exactly would be something that like we would do, like my major, like studying abroad? Because I've always been like confused about that. Like I know nursing might be easier, but like what would be something that we would do?
What do you mean? Like what kind of courses you would take, or what kind of internships you would do? Or
yeah, like both things.
Both things. So like I mentioned earlier, the courses will of course depend on where you go. But like there are, similar courses to what we have at TU at other universities, and then there's some other courses that are maybe sports and exercise science that aren't, equivalent to what we have here. So it might be an opportunity to take, courses in your field that are just like from a different perspective or something. And then in terms of internships, like if I go back to this one, yeah, the students that we've sent on this particular internship program, I think have all been sports exercise science students. This student here, he did an internship with an organization in South Africa that was working on kind of like integrating like exercise and sports, like PE, physical education, into schools because so he worked at the organization and they did programming, like kind of physical education opportunities for kids, because a lot of the schools don't include physical education as part of the curriculum. So that was one kind of internship, but they have lots of different fields or different kind of avenues you can go to in terms of internships. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, and like, if you want, we can meet and we can go through programs, and I can show you like the different courses that they offer in sports and exercise science. Because we have lots of courses already pre-approved for a lot of our programs in the study abroad database, so you can kind of see what kind of courses sports and exercise students have taken abroad before. But of course, you're not limited to what's already pre-approved. Like, you can take any course that's available at our partner institutions. It just has to go through the approval process. So, any other questions? All right. So if there's no other questions, I'm just gonna wrap it up then. Thank you very much for coming out today and listening to the presentation. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions come up when you're ready to start talking study abroad, please reach out. You'll eventually get in touch with me once you start the study abroad process, and we will touch base and figure out where and what you should study. So are both of you freshmen or sophomores?
I'm a sophomore.
Yeah.
So am I.
Okay. And have you thought about when you would want to study abroad?
I was thinking I want to do it next fall, so fall 21, if possible, because I'm applying to PT school. So like I want to, like I'll be taking the GRE in the spring, and
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So for next fall, our applications are open right now, and the deadline to get the application completed is March 12th. Like I said at the beginning, there's two applications, the CGE one and your program application. So depending on like where you want to go, their application deadline may vary. But in general, March 12th is our deadline. So maybe over winter break, you can start kind of exploring programs or, reaching out and discussing, where might be somewhere you want to go. Yeah, something I forgot to mention is that depending on, you will always start the process the semester before you want to go. So, so when you want to go in a fall or summer, you'll always kind of do the application process in the spring. And when you want to go in the spring, you'll always kind of do the application process in the fall before. So, well, I guess we'll wrap this up. Thank you again for coming, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and please don't hesitate to reach out with any other questions as you start your study abroad journey. Thank you.
Thank you.